Hi YouTube, this is Dr. Candus and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who have not seen a single video of mine, I ask that if you like this video that you will give it a quick thumbs up at the end of this message and that you will hit that subscribe button. So welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to try my best to make this message as short as possible. So I want to really encourage you all to just move forward, pursue your dreams. There are some things that many of you have started that you may have not finished. There may be some opportunities that God is giving you, and maybe that situation seems to be scary now. You know, it's funny in life because sometimes we think we know what we want, but then when that opportunity is presented to us, we are like, okay, is this really what I signed up for? And sometimes it may not be because of what it is. It may be based on how it's presented to us, right? And so many of you have amazing talents. You have amazing backgrounds. You have amazing things that God has already birthed within you, whether you have tapped into that thing or not. And God is saying, listen, this is for you. The opportunity is now. And many of you have seen that opportunity, but sometimes opportunities are not always like presented to us in a way that is beautiful. You know what I mean? Like that is just exciting, or sometimes opportunities can be really scary for us in our lives. And so many of us, when we think about it, we're thinking about it on a positive level, or we're thinking about it in a way that, oh yes, I'm going to jump on that opportunity. But many opportunities require a lot of work. Many opportunities require a lot of stretching. Many opportunities require a lot of faith. And so many of you are at a place right now where you may have started on some things that God has already said you can do. God has already said that this is your path. This is what I'm going to bless you with. And you may have stopped. You may have stopped because you're thinking now, okay, wait, hold on, this opportunity seems like it's different. You know, you may have written a book and then you're at a place where you wanted to publish it and you're like, okay, now I'm afraid. Fear has crept in, you know, doubt has crept in. Maybe you have all the credentials and all of the talent to be a manager. And now that the hiring manager is getting ready to offer you that position, you're like fearful now. You're thinking, okay, is this really for me? Maybe you didn't go to God. Sometimes opportunities come to us because we created that lane for ourselves without going to God. You know what I'm talking about, right? And so now you're thinking, hold on, now I'm experiencing all this doubt and all this anxiety. I'm afraid of what people may think of me. How are they going to receive me? How are they going to receive my personality in this? Will this thrive? So now we're thinking, okay, let me go to God. But many of us have gone to God, and God has told us this is for you, and this is for the well-being of your future. And when the opportunity presented itself to you, you're probably thinking, okay, God, is this really of you, right? You know, going back to just publishing a book or opening that business, you may be thinking, okay, I want to be responsible and moving forward. I have just enough money to launch this business, but I don't think that that is the responsible thing to do. But sometimes God will create a tight space just for you so that you can know it was nobody else but God that created that for you, right? So many of us are thinking surplus, but God is saying, you got this extra money. I've given you something. This is exactly what you need to launch this thing. Trust and believe in me, and I would take you much further than what you ever thought that you would ever experience. And so sometimes when we are experiencing those moments in our lives when we want to go to the other side, we want to live abundantly, we're like, okay, is this the best decision for me, right? And so maybe some of you are experiencing that. So today's message is titled, Just Do It. You know, just go after those goals. Never do anything without putting God in the forefront, but just go ahead and do it and be an active pursuer of those things. There are many things that occur to us in life that are just not comfortable. You know, going back to what I mentioned before, you know, you want to launch this business, but okay, wait. There are some things, and we have to realize that in life, things that happen for us or the opportunities that are presented to us are not going to always be in the most perfect setting. We have to just be mindful of that. Many of you wanted to get married, and then when that opportunity came, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous. Like, is this really the guy for me, right? But then God spoke to you and you made that decision based on what God told you. So never allow doubts and the pressure of fear to hold you back from the many wonderful things that God has promised you. So really quickly today, I'm going to take you into Exodus 14. I will caption the scripture below. However, I want to move and jump forward to the part where the Israelites were led to the Red Sea by Moses. And at this point, they felt like they had an opportunity to escape the Egyptians, to leave. They were free. Now they see the Egyptians are coming back after them, right? And so now they're like, my back is against the wall. Lord, help me. And so at this particular point, God spoke to Moses and told him to stretch out his hand, stretch out his staff, and that the water will be raised. And that's exactly what happened. So now, in amazement, the Israelites were seeing that the water is lifted and it has created a pathway. But in that moment, I want to share with you that sometimes your pathway will not always be the most comfortable pathway. Who would walk across a sea with the waters or walls to your left and to your right? Not to mention, you also have people, you have your adversary behind you that's trying to grab you, that's trying to take you back. And many times we are so afraid of what the future looks to our natural eyes that we are so comfortable with going back to the thing that was comfortable. No, slavery wasn't the best opportunity for them, but it was comfortable. They got used to it. And some of you right now are comfortable in that place of complacency right now. Some of you are at a point right now where you feel like, well, it will never happen for me because of all of these things, because of my finances, because they won't receive me, because of my personality, because of rejection from the past. Well, God is saying, yes, sometimes you will experience failure, but with me, I will always allow you to propel forward. And so, recall the times in your life when you've asked God and God has helped you through that thing. And every circumstance won't be the most beautiful, wonderful, perfect experience, but God is always going to lead you to the other side. I can imagine as the Egyptians were coming to them, some of the Israelites were wanting to go back, but many of the Israelites saw that pathway. And today I want you to see that pathway. I want you to see that there is a path in the midst of the fog, in the midst of the mist. And I can see that, and I can just imagine that when you're thinking about the water rising, the walls, I can imagine the sound, that it sounds like 1,000 waterfalls, that is extremely loud. There's a crowd of your family and a crowd of your people who may be wavering in their doubt, who may be afraid at this particular point. I'm quite sure that the pathway was misty. I'm quite sure they couldn't see. And sometimes the enemy would also present us with the smoke and mirrors and make us think as though as if what we're having experience in our what is before us is something that is not for us because of how it is presented to you. Okay, I'm gonna put it like that. And so I want you to also just think that had they not walked to the other side, they would have not experienced God's glory. And so today's message is basically, listen, move forward, allow the pathway that God has created for you to be the pathway that you take. We don't want to waste so much time missing opportunities because we are indecisive. There have been things in our lives that we have probably experienced, and that we felt like we're not going to do that thing again because we tried it and we failed at it, and so now I don't want to do it no more, right? But understand that there are many things in life that you will experience, and it will also present to or lead you to rejection. There are many people who are very famous, many people who are very successful with what they're doing because they have had to experience a lot of failure. You're not going to always get it on the first shot, and some of you may. But sometimes you got to go through that thing to build your courage, to build your strength in that, to develop your talents, to gain the experience so that God can push you to the other side. So I hope this message was for somebody, because I know that in these times we sometimes feel as though as if that our back is against the wall and there's nothing for us. Some of you have probably received these gentle whispers from God that's telling you to move and to do some things. And movement does not just require you tasking away. It may simply be, I'm going to say no to that opportunity, or not that opportunity, but no to some of the things that others want you to do for them. I'm not saying be selfish, but sometimes in order for you to allow opportunities to occur in your life, you got to allow some space. You got to get some space in your circumstance. And so you got to create that space so that you can allow God, whatever God is trying to help you do, you can allow those things to be birthed within your circumstance. So I hope this message was for somebody. I try my best to keep this very short and simple, but as I mentioned before, I will capture the scripture below so that you can go back and take a look at it. So remember, continue to pursue your dreams. Don't pursue anything without God's promptings and without going to God in prayer. But if God is giving you the okay, then make sure that you gather the courage and the strength to move forward. I hope this message was a blessing to you. Remember, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not, and God bless. I'll catch you in my next video.